Morning everyone, how's your start to the week? It's another Monday. Not much change here for me. A pretty busy weekend, hung out with my daughter. Had a few friends over, had some students come have lunch. It's always good to get a full house. So on the topic for today, house prices. I have recently moved to a bigger house. The opportunity because of the coronavirus has made it, like I said, it's been a great chance for me to move because the rent prices have come down. You're able to negotiate prices a little bit more with the house owners. So I'll read through this first. This is from a newspaper this morning. House prices could plummet by almost 1/3 due to the coronavirus pandemic. It has been forecast that a potential 32% house price crash by 2023 will happen if the pandemic leads to a prolonged downturn and an extended period of high unemployment. Areas that have more exposure to factors like overseas migration as a source of housing demand, or markets that have more exposure to industries that are hardest hit by COVID-19, such as hospitality and retail, are probably going to be hit hard. There's also bad news for people who rent out their properties, with some people predicting rental prices to fall by as much as 10%. This is the result of a flood of vacancies in inner city suburbs, again because of the COVID-19. It's a double whammy of much lower demand due to less overseas migration, students and the casualised workers who tend to be renters. We could see rental prices falling by more than 10% over the coming year. A few factors that they talk about there, hospitality and retail, the people who actually rent the houses, they're obviously not going to have as much money. So what do you say? I did the same thing. I said to the owner here, I said, look, he's advertising for a certain price. And I said, well, no one really wants to rent your house for that price anymore. How about I give you this? He's not really in a position to say no anymore, because if he says no, then he'll have no income at all from his rental property. I'm not sure what other people are doing. Maybe they've moved back with their parents, more people in one house if they can't afford to pay rent. Obviously, they don't have a job. It's interesting because I think it's always been the other way. I mean, if I wanted to rent a property, nice place on the beach or something, the owner would just say, here's the price, take it or leave it. And obviously you leave it because it's too expensive. So it's now sort of flipped around. You can say the same thing to the owner, take this or leave it, Obviously, some people are still getting good money for their property, but, do you feel like an asshole asking for a cheaper price? Not really, because you've had to put up with it for such a long time, right? These ridiculous rental prices. I did have one question about properties in Australia. Some people are able to own 10, 20 houses. It's a bit strange, right? And they're able to make a living out of this just by renting to people. My question would be, if everyone owned their own house, would this be such an issue with the COVID-19 around? If we all had a house. I think rental these days is about 50% of your income at least. So if you own your property, and sure, if you're paying it off to the bank, it's the same sort of amount of money, but that's where most of these issues are coming from. Stress. People are losing their jobs. They don't have money to pay for rent. They don't have money to pay mortgages either. It's basically the core of the problem, I believe, with the stress and the money issues. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, if house prices crash to more than 30%, it's going to be big problems for a lot of people. 10% I think would be good for rentals, just to make it easier for everyone to get a nice place. You could go into further issues of homelessness and things like that. People here in Australia, I know where I was living in a suburb before, the increase of homeless people was amazing just over the last year. I'm not sure if that's because of, you know, certain mental health issues, or it was because of the prices of rent, because it just goes up every year, which I see as quite unsustainable. But anyway, I'd like to hear what you think about your country, you know, over where you are, how the house prices there, have things changed? In Australia, we are expecting some pretty decent changes, but, you know, you can't really hold your breath on that. Anyway, have a look at the link down below. I've put the script up here for you, and we'll have a chat about it this week. Cheers.